The 2024 winter anime season is nearing its conclusion, and you still haven't decided what to watch yet? Okay, I get it. Who has the time to watch each one, right? Don't worry, I've got you covered.
Okay.
In this video, I will be explaining and reviewing the shows from this season to give you an idea of which shows you might want to watch. Please note that this discussion covers the first or up to the second episode of each anime. With that out of the way, let's get started. We've got a new action anime with superb animation and is actually a very hot topic right now. It has just been released, and if you've been following it, I'm sure you're extremely hyped too. Ninja Kamui is a new anime that seems like a mashup of Naruto, John Wick, and Cyberpunk. Jarapunk. From just the first episode, its very first scene, this anime genuinely surprised me with its incredibly fluid motion and the action sequences. I also love the dark and grim color scheme of the animation. And come on, what do you expect when you see a small, happy family of three? Kyle Logan, the cheerful child of the happy couple Joe and Sarah Logan, lives a simple life in the middle of a rural cornfield in America. And this is the kind of scene we're starting with? We can really smell the tragedy that's about to unfold. The couple starts to worry when they realize that their former organization is suspected of committing 4 serial murders. And this is what their enemies look like, ninjas who have adapted to modern advanced tech. Their happy days finally came to an end when they have become their next target. Joe Logan fought his best to protect his family, but when he heard his child hurting, he got distracted and was fatally hit by ninja darts in the neck. What makes the experience even worse, he even witnessed his wife being killed right before he died. But due to a miracle that we don't know the origin of, he suddenly woke up in the morgue. While confined in a hospital, he was visited by FBI agents Mike Morris and Emma Samanda. They wanted to get information from him about the massacre, but since he wasn't in the right mental condition yet, they decided to come back some other time. That night, Emma watched over a grieving Logan, who was brooding on the hospital rooftop. He was attacked again by the enemies, now their second attempt. It was a bloodbath, yet another brutal action scene, whereas now, Logan successfully showed his true fighting capabilities, including his unique technique of emitting black smoke from his mouth. Finally, he defeated the very enemy who killed his family, and his true identity was revealed. He is an ex-ninja named Higan. His whole family were just using a high-tech collar that could change their appearance and voices. They were actually a Japanese family hiding in America after being excommunicated. The real names of his wife and child were Mari and Red, and now he is determined to abandon his peaceful life and return to his ninja ways to avenge his loved ones and eradicate the very clan he originally came from. And of course, the first step is to get treated by his favorite private doctor. They discussed that it was truly a miracle he was still alive. Besides the fact that he had overused his body with the special technique Secret Art of Stark Awareness in his recent fight, which was too taxing on his body. His heart shouldn't be beating due to the injuries from the fatal wound he sustained on the first assassination attempt. After recovering, the next step was to gather information. So, he took the ninja who killed his family to an abandoned barn to torture and interrogate him. But naturally, the ninja was resilient, so he didn't extract any vital information from him. If he got anything, it was probably the satisfaction of processing his slow and painful death. Next, he tried to contact FBI Special Agent Mike Morris, hoping they could exchange information about the enemy. Another intense action scene ensued when their secret meeting was interrupted by another ninja, but here, we see that his special technique of emitting black smoke from his mouth can also take shape into physical limbs for combat. What other powers can he do? The black smoke is quite versatile. Ninja Kamui has only released 5 episodes so far as of this post, so there's not much to go on yet to say how good the story will be. But it looks really promising, that's all I can say. It doesn't have a manga or light novel origin, so it's safe from spoilers and gatekeepers. If you're searching for a new anime that's all about action and picking fights, you'll definitely want to check out Sujiro Yagyu in the anime Ishura. The world of Ishura is quite unique in the sense that it serves as a meeting point for all the strong and skilled individuals from different worlds. In Ishura, these immensely powerful individuals are known as Shura, and those Shura who have been isekai'd from a distant world known as the Beyond to here are referred to as visitors, like our protagonist, Sujiro. Welcome to Nagan Labyrinth City, constructed within the former Great Labyrinth of Kaiozuma, once ruled by the now-deceased true Demon King. This place is home to mage scholars and explorers, including a shy girl named Yuno and her best friend Lucelles, who taught her many of the things she knows about their world. They have experienced the short-lived era of peace in Ishura, which people had hoped would last. However, the truth is, the death of the Demon King did not guarantee lasting peace. One day, a golem emerged from the Great Labyrinth, alarming the guards with its strange appearance and resistance to their efforts to stop it. By afternoon, many golems were already seen emerging from the inside, posing a question. If they struggled with just one, how would they manage hundreds or even thousands? Simultaneously, a powerful earthquake shook the city as the labyrinth itself began to rise from the ground, revealing itself to be a dormant giant golem now awakened. A massacre ensued, and right before Yuno's eyes, a golem dismembered and killed her best friend, leaving her too stunned to help. Fortunately, she managed to escape and even killed a pursuing enemy easily with her word arts, regretting not trying to save her best friend now knowing she was actually capable of killing a golem. As she is now bitter about losing her, she resigned herself to the onslaught that was coming for her when multiple golems have arrived and her attacks failed to stop them. However, all her enemies were swiftly defeated upon Sujiro's arrival, who wielded only an old and worn-out katana. Not only did he defeat the golems attacking her, but he had also almost cleared all of them that are in the outer city. Hungry and with nothing else to eat but poisonous bundleroot, Sujiro traded with Yuno. In exchange for defeating the giant golem destroying the city, Yuno would give him her remaining travel rations. Sujiro also asked Yuno if he could learn the word arts he saw her use, which she explained was innate to the locals of their world and impossible for visitors like him to learn due to their world's confinement to its own laws of physics. The way word arts work is by allowing communication with inanimate objects to do whatever the caster tells them to, but on a powerful scale. It even allows them to communicate with each other even when Sujiro only speaks Japanese. Yuno tried to dissuade Sujiro from fighting the giant golem, arguing it wasn't his responsibility to risk his life, especially since everyone in the city was already dead. To her surprise, Sujiro didn't care about saving lives at all. He was simply looking for excitement in battle. Yuno was uneasy seeing the giant golem use word arts, including playing back chants through speakers and launching a powerful, concentrated light attack with thermal arts. Yet, Sujiro effortlessly maneuvered through the air to slice off its head, using a traditional technique from the Yagyu clan to turn the enemy's weapon and momentum against itself, ultimately disabling the life seal and shutting down all the golems in the city. Sujiro proved himself a genius at identifying enemies' weak points. Yuno blamed him for the awakening of the giant golem, suspecting its activation was due to sensing the arrival of a powerful swordsman who defied the laws of physics and human limits. Feeling bitter towards powerful individuals for highlighting her own weakness and insignificance, Yuno wished for Sujiro to meet a challenger far stronger than him, hoping for his defeat. Thus, the story of the anime Ishura follows their journey to the country of Oniii-Chan, a land filled with Shura. Yuno accompanies Sujiro, wishing to lead him to his death, while Sujiro is simply thrilled to follow her so he can face powerful beings. It's bizarre to me that the lead duo of this anime are not true allies but adversaries. This unique storytelling approach is quite rare in anime. Despite not being well received by fans, Ishura is still on my watch list, and at the very least, I believe it's really worth a try. If you were given the chance to live as an immortal, would you take it? However, there's a catch. You would have to become an undead. This is the very predicament of Rent Fina from the new anime. The unwanted undead adventurer. In a world filled with adventurers, Rent Fina lives as a veteran bronze rank adventurer. Hard work is his only talent, if you can call it that. He possesses no powerful skills or powers and lacks any real innate talent. Yet, he still dreams of becoming a mithril rank adventurer one day. And he has managed to get by for 10 whole years as an adventurer, relying solely on hard work. The guild offers available jobs and quests, which are also regulated based on your rank. As a result, it's normal for him to always adventure alone, rarely joining a party. Adventurers rise early to beat the competition, and whenever there are no worthwhile quests available for Rent, His default go-to place for raiding is the Labyrinth of the Moon's Reflection. For him, it's all about perseverance and diligence. He has managed to sustain himself through jobs and selling loot from goblins and slimes that frequently spawn in this beginner-level labyrinth. But as we all know, there's a limit to what hard work and perseverance alone can achieve. So when he encounters a newly formed hole acting as an entrance to a tunnel that has appeared for the first time within the walls, and considering he's an adventurer not often given the opportunity to become wealthy, he decides to enter it alone, hoping to discover unique enchanted items that he could sell for a high price. However, even if he had simply reported his discovery to the officials, he would have already received a substantial bonus. Perhaps due to overwhelming excitement, he proceeded to walk straight in until he reached its very depths. There, he encountered a dragon. Its appearance was majestic and angelic, as if enveloped in holy magic. Dragons are considered the greatest of all monsters in their world, varying in sizes, and the one before him is one of the larger dragons. As a bronze rank adventurer, his chances of survival were 0. But instead of dying, he suddenly woke up as an undead skeleton. Well, technically, he was dead, but also alive. He was even confused about his own state. However, what mattered was that he knew he couldn't simply return to his home in his current state. He soon encountered another undead skeleton and discovered that he could still use his abilities and skills, including basic holy magic, even as an undead. Fortunately, he had learned much about magic and monsters from the genius researcher and adventurer, Lorraine Vitti. One such lesson was about existential evolution. This is a rare case where a monster evolves into a more powerful being after strengthening itself. So, his first goal was to fight continuously within the labyrinth to grow stronger, until he had accumulated enough spirit energy to reach the first phase of his existential evolution, becoming a ghoul. His ultimate goal was to reach the highest phase of existential evolution for the undead, becoming a full-fledged vampire. Being diligent and hardworking, it didn't take long for him to achieve his second form. Now as a ghoul, he was somewhat able to speak, though it required a lot of practice. But in his appearance as a ghoul, he had to cover his face and body. Fortunately, he encountered a beginner adventurer, Rena. She was also raiding the labyrinth alone, and when she needed help with a high-level skeleton, Rent acted swiftly. In exchange for saving her life, she helped Rent acquire clothes and re-enter the city. Rent quickly left Rena behind, not wanting to exploit her kindness. Instead, he sought out the only person he knew could help him and keep a secret: Lorraine. Ironically, becoming an undead now seems to make it possible for him to achieve his long-held dream of becoming strong and, someday, becoming a mithril rank adventurer. This anime is now on my watch list, not just because of the waifu or mommy, but because it's unique and interesting to follow the protagonist's story. The goat of all manhwas has now taken the form of an anime. Today, we will delve into solo leveling and explore why it is so highly regarded and praised by the community. How do I know it is the goat of all manhwas? It is because there are numerous gatekeepers online. Just kidding, we're not here to argue about that. The manhwa boasts a compellingly written story, meriting all the accolades it receives. In fact, our new anime's protagonist, Sung Jinwoo, is set to become another overpowered hero, which, according to statistics, contributes to the high popularity of an anime. However, even if you're already fatigued by overpowered main characters, you might want to make an exception for this one. Solo leveling is not your typical overpowered main character anime. I won't claim it's supremely unique, because it isn't. Yes, like other overpowered main characters, Sung starts off weak, and, like others, faces considerable challenges initially, but eventually becomes so powerful that even the most formidable enemies become easy to defeat. What distinguishes it is how seamlessly everything integrates with the narrative and character development. And just in the first 2 episodes of the anime, which correspond to the first 10 chapters of the manhwa, Sung Jinwoo demonstrates a unique intelligence and way of thinking, developed from being the weakest among the weak. He was introduced as the weakest of all, possessing the most minimal magical power among those with such powers. At this juncture, calling it magic power might even be an overstatement. In Sung Jinwoo's world, Earth is at war with magical monsters from another dimension. a conflict made possible by the emergence of the Gate, a portal linking our world to a realm of magic and monsters. This was particularly bad news initially, as the invading monsters were impervious to ballistic weapons. Fortunately, some individuals began to spontaneously manifest magical powers, which varies in strength and is crucial in humanity's fight against these new foes. These individuals are known as hunters. The S ranks are the elite, followed by A, B, C, D, down to E ranks. And this is where our hero, Sung Jinwoo, comes in, at the bottom of the hierarchy. Here's the catch. A person can only experience an awakening once upon reaching maturity. And the level of magical power attained then is permanent. Magical power cannot be enhanced through practice or experience.
That's not how the Force works.
Hunters participate in raids to clear dungeons, defeat monsters, and acquire loot, which can be sold in the real world for significant value. Normally, the economy operates straightforwardly. A person acquires magical powers, becomes a hunter, raids dungeons appropriate to their rank, sells their loot for profit, and uses the proceeds to buy better gear to tackle tougher monsters for even better loot. However, Sung Jinwoo struggles significantly, even in the easiest E-rank dungeons. Every battle presents a formidable challenge, resulting in frequent injuries from every raid. Thus, he barely makes a profit from his hunter career, and struggles to provide for his mother and sister, as well as to afford adequate gear. His raid party has come to accept him, recognizing that he must participate in raids, albeit being carried by others. But then, they encounter an abnormal situation, a secondary dungeon within their dungeon. Half of them wanted to return home, while the other half chose to take the risk and continue the raid. As you might have guessed, the outcome was disastrous for many. Sung Jinwoo and the party faced a deity-like adversary, against whom they had no chance. The intensity of this moment is both exhilarating and terrifying, as it is in the anime and as it was in the manhwa, exactly where this meme originated. However, Jinwoo was the only one to devise a survival strategy, demonstrating the mental and intellectual acumen necessary to survive. Though only his leader and a girl trusted him, with the rest either perishing or abandoning him. And when he was left alone, he received a message that seemed like a chance to continue playing a game. But it was actually real life, but a game, but in real life, but as a game. It will make sense later, I promise. He then gained the ability to see his stats, earn experience, level up, become stronger, and acquire new powers. Exactly like in a game. See? I told you it would make sense. Solo leveling is poised to become one of the greatest, if not the greatest, anime of 2024. So you simply can't miss it. If the world suddenly granted superpowers to all girls, and boys received nothing, do you think we'd still have a chance with the ladies? Well, I know someone who's willing to be chained like a dog just to get a waifu. He's from the anime Chain Soldier Mado Seihei no Slave. Is he really that desperate? Or is there another reason why he allowed himself to become enslaved? Actually, there is, and the reason is quite valid, if you ask me. Oh, and the first reason is true. He really is desperate too. In modern-day Japan, there exists a special fruit known as peaches that only grow in an alternate dimension.
I got my peaches out in Georgia.
These peaches, when consumed, grant different people different powers. You could obtain handy weapons, literal handy weapons. You can have powers like MT Lady, Sentinel powers, flight, hair control, etc. The only drawback is you have to be a girl to gain powers. Sorry, guys, tough luck for us. Yuki Wakura, a third-year high school student from Kamui High who is about to graduate, is worried about chasing careers because he doesn't want to live a conventional life. Then, on his way home, he was unlucky enough to become victimized by what we call a Mado disaster or Mado mishap. Well, actually, he just didn't know yet just how lucky he was to be unlucky at that time. Why? Because he is about to be rescued by his dream waifu. More on that later. Years ago, Japan encountered a phenomenon where portals and gateways suddenly appeared in various places. We call them doors. These doors give us access to an alternate dimension, which we refer to as Mado. Sometimes, people accidentally get caught up in these gateways, transporting them into Mado, which usually results in missing and death casualties, since it's filled with big, ugly demons called shuki. The Japanese government instructs the public that if ever they get caught in a door, they just need to stay put and wait to be rescued by the Demon Defense Force. But with what happened to Yuki, he got transported very close to a pack of demons. So, staying put really isn't a good idea. Luckily, Kyuka was there to rescue him. She is the commander of the 7th unit of the Demon Defense Force, who aspires to become the supreme commander someday and purge all the shuki in Mado. The Demon Defense Force consists of all female heroes, since only females are given powers by the Peaches. At first, the rescue operation was going quite smoothly, until it wasn't. With nowhere to go, and their only protective barrier about to break, Kyuka had no choice but to ask Yuki kindly if he would be willing to do anything to survive. Of course, he said yes. So, Yuki became her slave. See? I told you he had a good reason for choosing to be a waifu's slave. He'd be dead if he hadn't. And so, he transformed into a powerful demon-like creature. Previously, Kyuka only used her peach blessing on shuki she enslaved. Trying it out on a human was her first time, and it looks like this was a rare case of the first time being the charm. Yuki's first enslavement was temporary because it was only for an emergency. But since Yuki's shuki form was so powerful and full of potential, Kyuka wanted to make a permanent master and slave arrangement. It doesn't sound very nice, but in the real world, people have been doing this for centuries. The rule about her powers is that whenever her slaves do her bidding and do a good job, she is forced to offer them a reward, which her slaves really want to have. And it happens automatically. And her previous shuki slaves only ever wanted slices of pork. But Yuki, well, he just wants what all of us men want. He wants to veer away from a life of monotony and mediocrity. So he says yes to a life of adventure. A life of becoming a hero in Mado, alongside Kyuka. Chain Soldier is an easy top 5 for me among the new anime that just came out this January. It's a reinvention of the harem genre. It's got cool action and fight scenes. It's got an interesting power system. The world building does pique my interest. And peaches. I love peaches. Plus, Kyuka's silver white hair. Irresistible. Are you ready to fall in love? If so, then it's time to immerse yourself in this captivating new anime. A Sign of Affection. It delves into the inner thoughts of a girl born deaf as she falls in love with a white-haired K-pop idol, who excels in everything except singing and dancing. Nevertheless, his enchanting smile is what truly captivates. The story begins when Yuki, unable to hear, is approached by a foreigner asking for directions. Overwhelmed and confused, she finds herself in a panic. It's at this moment that Itsuomi steps in to help, sparking Yuki's crush on him. Who could blame her? He rescues her just in time, shows kindness, and gently pats her on the head before departing. With few friends and a knack for struggling in social situations, Yuki treasures this interaction immensely. She later discovers through her best friend, Rin, that the mysterious savior is from the same club at their college. Rin herself harbors feelings for Itsuomi's cousin, Kyuya, with whom they both work at a quaint bar named Rockin' Robin. The girls decide to seize the opportunity to exchange contact information with them that very night. During this encounter, Yuki learns that Itsuomi is fluent in Japanese, English, and German, and is currently learning Chinese and Spanish, impressing everyone. After a series of amusing and endearing moments, Rin successfully acquires her crush's contact details. However, Yuki struggles to maintain her composure. Fortunately, as they prepare to leave, Itsuomi's shift ends, and he offers to escort them home. Rin sees this as a chance for Yuki to spend more time with him, noting his kind demeanor towards her. Ultimately, Yuki gathers the courage to ask for his contact details, which he gladly provides. This leads to a pivotal moment in the anime, where Itsuomi asks to be a part of her world, overwhelming her with joy. Even the most stoic viewers would find this moment irresistibly adorable. What truly draws Yuki to Itsuomi is his expansive view of the world, his multilingual abilities, his adventurous spirit, and his extensive network of international friends. Being born deaf, Yuki's social interactions are limited, making her world feel smaller by comparison. Itsuomi's outgoing nature significantly magnifies her affection for him, making her feel as if her world expands with every moment they share. Yuki often confides in Rin about her burgeoning feelings, discussing whether to keep her emotions as a mere crush or to let them blossom into love. The narrative then introduces Oshur Ashioki, Yuki's childhood friend who also knows sign language, not because he is deaf, but out of his dedication to communicate with her. This development hints at a potential rivalry, especially when Oshur notices Yuki's interactions with Itsuomi, who begins learning sign language himself. The anime captures the unique challenges faced by someone born deaf, especially in socializing and experiencing the nuances of young love. It offers a deeper appreciation for the small, often overlooked details of daily life. A caution for male viewers: certain scenes designed to highlight Itsuomi's attractiveness may induce cringing, given their deliberate appeal to female audiences. However, this doesn't detract from the overall enjoyment of the anime, which boasts a manual-like animation style praised for its beauty and elegance, especially in depicting the wintry landscape and its lighthearted moments. What stands out in A Sign of Affection is how it immerses viewers in Yuki Ido's perspective. Despite her inability to hear or speak conventionally, we are privy to her thoughts, filled with innocence and curiosity about the world, especially concerning Itsuomi. This anime is a heartfelt recommendation for all viewers, offering a unique glimpse into the experiences of those living with deafness, coupled with the universal thrill of young love. This new anime is the offspring of Food Wars in the Dungeon Crawler Diablo series, focusing on the delightful combination of delicious food and dungeon exploration. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, then yes, this is Dungeon Meshi, or Delicious in Dungeon, an anime that celebrates the art of cooking the heartiest meals from literal dungeon crawlers and monsters. Can you imagine eating plants that have grown from corpses, slimes that might taste like the blobs from Final Fantasy VII, or poisonous giant scorpions? I admit, that last one does sound akin to lobster cooked in butter. Remarkably, everything in this dungeon can be edible, provided you know the proper cooking techniques. And these aren't just edible, they're extremely appetizing if you know how to utilize everything available, from giant walking mushrooms and ugly trees to big carnivorous plants, scorpions, mythical beings, venomous snakes, devilish wolves, and even dragons. In this unique and exciting adventure, we join the hero party comprising Laos the Knight and leader of the group, Marcel the Elven Mage, Chilchuck the Thief expert in traps and lockpicking, and their newest member, Senshi, the Dwarven Warrior. The story begins after Laos and his original party are defeated by a red dragon, losing their food and items to traps and obstacles, which left them in poor shape for the battle. However, Laos's sister, Fallon, manages to teleport the entire party out by sacrificing herself as she casts a teleportation spell while being swallowed whole by the dragon. Moving beyond the lore and history, let's delve into the heart of the matter. The party's main goal is to rescue Fallon as soon as possible. However, being broke and hungry, they cannot simply rush through the lower levels of the dungeon. This situation leads Laos to embrace the cult of cooking and eating monsters, a passion shared with Senshi, who has been perfecting his dungeon food skills and knowledge for a decade inside the dungeon. Senshi, who hates wasting any part of the monsters they kill, is thrilled to find someone who shares his enthusiasm for dungeon cuisine. Marcel, despite being the most difficult to feed, still enjoys the food, while Chilchuck is rather indifferent towards monster food. Together, they hunt monsters, forage plants, cook them, receive cooking lessons from Senshi, and eat heartily while preparing for their mission to rescue Fallon. The food preparation, cooking process, and plating of these dungeon foods are incredibly appetizing, almost rivaling Food Wars. The series is imbued with lighthearted comedy, and I fell in love with it after just the first episode. It entertainingly explores dilemmas like whether it's acceptable to eat a monster that consumed a party member, interweaving each episode with short stories that stay within the overarching narrative and often impart quirky moral lessons, leaving a smile on my face. Themes like eat or be eaten emphasize that there's no food chain or hierarchy, only the privilege of eating, reserved for those who survive. This anime offers a chill and fun watch, with enough excitement and mystery to keep viewers slightly on edge, making it easily one of the best cooking animes ever. A new thriller dark fantasy adventure anime has arrived. If you are captivated by stories inspired by Slavic folklore, such as the Witcher series and Castlevania, then you must watch this action-packed anime, Meijo to Yaju, The Witch and the Beast. Meet Godot, a little blondie who is always impatient and agitated. And there is Ashoff, her chain-smoking traveling companion, who is perpetually carrying around some sort of coffin. Who knows? Maybe there's a cute demon inside. They have just arrived by train in a massive town with the motive of finding a certain witch. Their search is quickly concluded as the witch they are looking for is practically worshipped as the town's savior and protector, famous with her own followers. Suddenly, there's a commotion and the windows shatter. Apparently, a walking megalodon is tearing the city apart. Ashoff suspects a mage using a powerful spell, while Godot believes it's a witch and is eager to attack immediately. However, a follower of the witch confirms they are both wrong because the witch is the woman about to save the day, just like every other day. She manages to lift the curse from the shark, turning it back into a human. Godot impulsively attacks the witch from above, but is easily countered. The police apprehend her, but Ashoff steps in to calm the situation, showcasing his chill demeanor, the total opposite of Godot's. Upon arrival in the town just in time for the anniversary, as the witch calls it, they learn of a piece of history. 400 years ago, the town was afflicted by a powerful fire curse, which was sealed after the townsfolk killed the witch who cast it. However, Ashoff knows this is not the entire truth. After attempting to peacefully enter the witch's palace where the seal is located and being unwelcome due to earlier events, the witch gathers more female followers, giving off decidedly evil vibes. Back at the hotel, Ashoff uncovers the true meaning of the witch's anniversary, leading to a decision to subdue the witch by force, after dealing with the police she sent after them. It turns out the witch's followers were meant to be a sacrifice to unseal the curse meant to burn down the town exactly 417 years ago. This witch is the granddaughter of the one killed by the townsfolk, but contrary to history, her grandmother was not evil but had sealed away the fire curse to save everyone. The real motive behind convincing the town of her benevolence was to eventually enact revenge. Godot and Ashoff confront the witch, with Godot aggressively charging in. Ashoff tries to rescue the girls, but the witch anticipates his plan. Godot's aggression stems from her hatred of witches, being cursed by one herself. Her ultimate goal is to find and lift this curse. Unlike common belief, which offers two solutions for lifting curses, Ashoff and Godot know a secret third option, a kiss from a witch. Godot's curse is lifted after kissing the witch, revealing her true form as a very large, strong man, the natural enemy of all witches. However, the curse's relief is temporary, explaining Ashoff's continuous carrying of the coffin and their quest with the Order of Magical Resonance to find the cursing witch and permanently lift the curse. The anime doesn't shy away from displaying blood, and its animation is commendable, though it suffers from low frames per second in places and noticeable staggering in some scenes. Nonetheless, the action sequences are impressive. The story is straightforward, and while its lore isn't unique, its plot stands out among other anime with overpowered main characters, making Godot a unique protagonist. Is it recommendable? Certainly. A must-watch? Maybe not, but still worth considering. What if Saitama were to trade all his offensive powers for defense, then transfer that power to Nafumi, the shield heroes? True gamers understand that tanks are crucial in team composition, akin to Dragon Knight from Dota 2 and Tigreal from Mobile Legends, though they often aren't the ones making the most kills. However, Rudd's case is exceptional. In this new anime, viewers will witness the full potential of a tank character. Imagine him becoming virtually invulnerable. This series perfectly encapsulates the adage, the best defense is a good offense, through the strongest tank's Labyrinth raids. A tank with a rare 99/99 resistance skill got kicked from the hero's party. Interestingly, its lengthy title may actually make it more memorable. Rudd is a devoted brother to his sister Manisha, who suffers from an incurable disease. He's determined to find the secret treasure of the Labyrinth, rumored to grant any wish, much like the Dragon Balls, despite feeling disheartened by a recent defeat. Rudd's friend Ren, a member of his party, consoles him, emphasizing that their progress owes much to his role as a tank and that their defeat wasn't his fault. After all, who would blame a tank whose absorbing shield boasts a maximum stat of 9,999? In this world, Battling in the Labyrinth means losing points from your absorbed shield instead of health points upon being attacked. It acts as a frontline layer of health points. Their hero and party leader unexpectedly expels Rudd from the group, citing him as the weakest link due to a significant reduction in his shield's capacity during a nearly fatal battle. Rin suggests there's more to the decision, hinting at a desire to replace Rudd with 2 evasion tanks. Adding insult to injury, the hero also takes Rudd's sword as compensation for the previous loss. Rudd bids farewell to Rin and sets off for Avancia to live with his sister. Along the way, he encounters a D-rank party struggling with their escort job and offers his help for free. Despite being an F-rank adventurer, his reputation as the former tank of the hero party earns their trust. Their journey leads them to encounter a mysterious girl with lavender hair and a ruby embedded in her chest, apparently fleeing from danger. They are then attacked by a formidable forest snake. Despite the D-rank party's inability to defeat it, Rudd's leadership and skills enable them to overcome the beast, further bonding them with the girl, who Rudd suspects is an escapee from slavery. Upon reaching their destination, Rudd parts ways with the party to continue his quest for the secret treasure, rumored to have the power to create homunculi. The girl's reaction to discussions about homunculi reveals her true nature as one, drawing Rudd closer to the treasure. After naming her Luna, Rudd discovers she possesses unique magical skills and a rare ability known as Identify, previously thought to be lost. This revelation, along with Rudd's own unacknowledged skills, solidifies his role as an exceptional tank. As the story unfolds, it promises to gain momentum and explore new heights, offering a unique take on the overpowered protagonist trope. While the animation may not be the best, the story's unique angle ensures it stands out among other anime series. Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hero will likely find this new edition refreshing and engaging. A new romantic comedy anime has arrived, featuring the classic storyline where the main character, a guy, ends up with a dreamlike waifu. This series offers vibes reminiscent of My Dress-Up Darling, yet I urge you not to rush to judgment. I'm not implying that this new character surpasses Marin Kitagawa in any way. Rather, they share similarities, both externally and internally. The character in question is Minami Fuyuki from Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable. Set in modern Japan, the show explores the contrasting lifestyles of rural and urban settings. Meet Tsubasa Shiki, a timid high school boy from Tokyo, and Minami Fuyuki, the first Hokkaido gal he encounters. Their first meeting takes place at a bus stop during a harsh winter. Tsubasa is immediately struck by Minami's resilience to the cold, despite her minimal attire, and her appearance that perfectly embodies the gyrus style, complete with a voluptuous figure. Minami Fuyuki might seem like a typical high school girl from the countryside, if one can call that typical, but she's far more than what she appears to be. And yes, she knows exactly what she's doing. Meanwhile, Tsubasa finds himself unable to resist her charm. From the moment they meet, when he asks her for directions to his father's house in Hokkaido, she's immediately taken with the fact that he's from Tokyo. Upon discovering they'll attend the same high school, she hopes to be classmates with him, a wish that soon comes true, marking the beginning of their story. As events unfold, everything seems to happen just as Minami wishes, often catching Tsubasa off guard, which leads to many humorous situations. First, she lends him her jacket when he's cold, expecting him to walk her home in return. Then, she invites him over when there are no classes, under the pretense of wanting to learn about Tokyo. However, her plans take a turn when she falls asleep during a movie they watch together. Feeling guilty, she invites him on a date to reconnect with her love for her hometown, pleasantly surprised when he enjoys the festival, contrary to her expectations. Throughout their interactions, Minami continually flirts with Tsubasa, amused by his predictable reactions. According to her, he's easy to read, her words, not mine. The allure Tsubasa holds for these Hokkaido gals remains a mystery, suggesting that perhaps clumsiness is becoming the new trend of attractiveness. As the story progresses, Tsubasa meets other characters like Sayuri Akino and Rina Natsukawa, hinting at more excitement and comedy to come. Despite the series' occasionally risque content, each episode concludes on a wholesomely heartfelt note. This indescribable feeling, perhaps stemming from genuine affection or even love, elevates the show beyond its comedic and romantic elements. For those seeking a blend of comedy, romance, and waifu appeal, this anime is a must-watch. Hokkaido gals are super adorable. Stands out for its charm and humor. Another isekai has arrived, freshly baked and ready for consumption. It tells the story of an average guy who acquires special healing abilities after being accidentally transported to another world. His healing ability, however, is a rare type in their new world. The method he's trained to utilize it is even weirder. As the anime's title suggests, it's the wrong way to use healing magic. This time, it's not just one hero transported to another world. 3 buddies are transported together. Hey, it'd be a real adventure to do it with friends, right? Meet Kinya Sato, an average student, the epitome of an average guy. Susan Inakami, the president of their high school student council, excels at everything in school, from academics to sports, and is even the prettiest. Then there's Kazuki Ryusen, her vice president, who follows her everywhere. Except to the bathroom, presumably. All the students speculate that they're dating, but no one has dared to ask, until this average guy stumbled upon them. It turns out, they're not dating. They're actually very friendly and approachable. But one night on their way home, they hear strange bells in the sky. When Ken investigates, a gateway to another world suddenly opens, and Susan-san is thrilled about it. They are summoned to the Linger Kingdom to become heroes. There, they will use magic to fight the Demon King. Kazuki initially reacts angrily to their kidnapping, but the king personally begs for their help and promises to find a way to send them back eventually. They enter a room with a magic crystal ball that reads magical powers. Susan's power shines yellow, indicating a lightning affinity. Kazuki's light is white, signifying holy magic power. And Ken? His is green. The mage's reaction is priceless. She rushes him back to the king, as his green magic power is actually the power to heal. This ability is the rarest of all powers. However, they couldn't hide him from a woman named Rose. She's also a healer like him, but is considerably crazier and more eccentric. Under Rose's guidance, he undergoes rigorous training that pushes the human body to its limits. But Rose has Ken use his healing powers to sustain his body whenever he reaches his limit. Thus, his body becomes strong, agile, and durable. He's not as overwhelmingly powerful as Rose, but he's significantly stronger than any average guy. Instead of becoming a conventional battle medic or white mage, he becomes a unique hybrid of a white mage and monk. A battle mage, if you will. Even his high school friends are impressed by his newfound strength. They are motivated to train even harder after Ken expresses his desire to do his best to assist them on future missions. I admit that Ken's powers and abilities aren't particularly special, but that's not the main draw here. It seems the writers are banking on the unique healing skill aspect to carry the series. But it's the relatable personalities of the characters that truly make the series interesting to watch. So this new isekai won't be just another isekai. Would a steampunk version of Cyberpunk, Edgerunners, be compelling? Imagine integrating androids from the game Detroit. Many fans cherish the tragic love story between David and Lucy. And those who are fans of both games will undoubtedly be excited. This new anime is called Metallic Rouge. In a universe where Earth is not the only inhabited planet but also Mars, along with hostile aliens. Real humans and humanoid androids known as Neens coexist. You can distinguish them by the marks on their faces. However, they are not living in peace or harmony but merely coexist. There is evident prejudice within their society. In a Martian world constructed by Neens and shielded from alien colonization by Neen soldiers. Due to the Asimov code embedded deep within their core, they cannot harm humans in any way. Reminiscent of iRobot. And we all recall how that unfolded. This substance, called nectar, is a vital life source that keeps the androids operational, and, interestingly, acts like a special drug to normal humans. Hence their high value on the black market. Meet the cyberpunk Neen version of Takina from Lycoris Recoil. Rouge Red Star, a mysterious young girl with a fondness for chocolate, exclusively. She currently serves Sarah, a beautiful lady who sings at a high-class 5-star bar and is presumably also a Neen. But one night in her penthouse, she is visited by the Red Power Ranger. She nearly loses her life, but her guards manage to protect her, somehow. That very night, she secretly meets with Jalen, a Loki lookalike, engaging in Loki-esque deeds, like stealing nectar from nefarious individuals to advance his malevolent plan. He warns Sarah of the grave danger she faces and his efforts to safeguard her. And this is... I would have preferred to say Chisato, but no, she appears quite different. This is Naomi Orthman, a white-haired Morena who enjoys incessant talking and eating. She is the intellect and voice behind the bird issuing orders to Rouge. So, is she a Nin as well? Yet, she bears no marks on her face. What could this imply? She receives an unexpected visit from Sarah, who attempts to ensnare her in a trap. Then, the Red Ranger appears out of the blue and kills her. However, it turns out to be Jalen manipulating his mimic ability. Thus, he is what is known as an alter, distinct from ordinary Nins. Then, the actual Red Ranger appears and is revealed to be Rouge herself. She too is an alter. And now even Sarah transforms. Suddenly, everyone is an alter, except for Naomi. And Sarah's true identity is Viola Keene, or Purgatory Viola, a member of the Immortal Nine. Rouge and Naomi's mission is to find and eliminate all of them. The Immortal Nine are regarded as the primary adversaries of the government. However, this private investigator is oblivious, actively pursuing Rouge, and this mystery will gradually unfold in the story. It could involve a secretive organization or even a significant plot twist towards the end. Who knows? The narrative delves into themes of bigotry, intertwined with the pursuit of vengeance. It distinctly leans towards maturity, especially for an anime classified as shonen. The contrast between the somber artwork and the lively interactions between Rouge and Naomi is striking. Is it worth watching? It might be, particularly if you appreciate its high-tech, retro-futuristic industrial aesthetic. The combat scenes will predominantly feature android versus android. I used to dream of becoming a member of the Power Rangers when I was a child. As I grew a bit older, my dream shifted to becoming a Konoha shinobi. Admit it, you harbor the same wishes in your youth, too. And what if those wishes actually came true? But instead of joining our heroes, we turned into their mortal enemies. And that's precisely what befell Yutina Hiragi in this new anime titled Gushing Over Magical Girls. However, it leans more towards Sailor Moon than Naruto or Power Rangers, in a world tormented by the forces of the evil organization Enormida. 3 magical girls tirelessly fight to protect the world. They're the Trace Magia, composed of Haruko Hanabishi as Magenta, Karakoko Tenkawa as Sulfur, and Seo Minakami as Azure. And this purple-haired girl is Yutina Hiragi, an utterly average girl who's quite inept at everything from academics to athletics. She adores and idolizes Trace Magia to the extent that she sincerely wishes to become one of them. Suddenly, this little creature appears out of nowhere. Yutina receives a star, a device that can transform her into a magical girl. Her dreams have finally come true, thanks to this creature named Venalida. However, it turns out its job is to recruit magical girls for Enormida. Yutina is shocked and horrified to discover she has become a villain. Now, she is meant to battle against those she loves the most. And, notably, her outfit is far too revealing. Naturally, she would refuse the offer, but the creature continuously blackmails her with her outfit. Thus, she must do what a villain must do. However, the twist is that she believed she would detest inflicting pain on her heroes. Little did she know, deep within her true self, lies a genuine sadist. It seems this little demon never errs in choosing a villain. See? Even I'm getting confused. But despite everything, she continues to suppress her darker fantasies and strives to remain virtuous. Yet, as she harbors more and more lustful thoughts, she increasingly struggles to control her powers. And so does her desire. When she faced Magia Azure alone and managed to overpower her, instead of fleeing, she paused and eventually succumbed to the temptation. Of course, balance must be restored. The situation can't remain a 1 versus 3 indefinitely. So, she eventually gains 2 more allies from Enormida, Kiwi Uraga and Marino Kurisu, whose main abilities are ballistics and dolls, respectively. It's a truly vibrant anime, fun, superhero-themed, and designed to be adorable and magical. But its biggest highlight is Eki. So, I advise you to exercise a bit of extra caution. What if, at the moment you lose your life, you suddenly return to a specific point in your past? Yes, as if you had saved a game at a save point some years ago during a crucial period of your life. And the beauty of this is, you know everything that will happen. Yes, it's quite like Edge of Tomorrow. But what I am really trying to ask you is, would you do things differently? Of course, yes, to change things up. That was precisely Rouge's reasoning when this happened to her in the anime. Seventh time loop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy. Spoiler alert. The plot is in the title itself. Brilliant. In a world where each country is ruled by kings and emperors, there's an evil emperor named Arnold Hein of the Gushing Empire, incredibly powerful and undefeated in battle, especially during the World War he initiated with the goal of world domination. He's a formidable opponent, alone resembling the level of Darth Vader. One of his victims was a female royal knight named Rouge. However, as she was stabbed in the chest and nearing unconsciousness, she reflected on her life, feeling fulfilled. Suddenly, she awoke in a ballroom, being broken up with by a contemptible prince who accused her of crimes she didn't commit. Rouge, unbothered, quickly left. It turns out, this was her seventh life, always returning to this point in her life. Technically, this is only her sixth loop because after the first loop, it would be her second life. Wait, is the title correct? Anyway, in her first and original life, Rouge was shocked and hurt by the betrayal of the prince and her own family. But being exiled led to a positive turn as she met a group of skilled merchants, the Aria Trading Company. She trained with them and became proficient in trade, eventually becoming independent and traveling to many places. However, after 5 years, she died amidst a world war, experiencing the time loop for the first time. Realizing this in her second life, she rushed to gather some belongings for a trip, but arrived too late to meet the Aria Trading Company as planned. So, she sold all her valuable possessions and went abroad to study medicine, majoring in apothecary diaries, possibly alongside Mau Mau. She excelled in medicine and even cured a prince before getting involved in the World War again and dying after 5 years. In her third life, she continued her medical studies, this time apprenticing under a skilled doctor named Michael Evan. In her fourth life, she tried being a handmaid in a duke's mansion. The fifth life's details haven't been revealed yet. In her sixth life, she disguised herself as a man and served as a royal knight in another kingdom. She was happy in all her lifetimes, but couldn't escape involvement in the war that occurred every 5 years and her inevitable death. In her latest life, stabbed by Emperor Arnold Hein himself, she tried something new in this loop by running out the back of the mansion, a route she'd never taken before. There, she collided with Arnold Hein, who was not yet the emperor but a prince. Arnold immediately noticed Rouge's unique qualities and skills, developing a crush on her and quickly pursuing her, eventually proposing marriage. Initially reluctant, Rouge was persuaded by the king to accept under the condition that she could lead a carefree, lazy life in their kingdom without working. Upon arriving at the castle, Rouge's first act was to clean an abandoned villa she wanted to call home. Throughout the story, Arnold is constantly impressed by Rouge's skills, and she by Arnold's good nature. The main goal of the story is for Arnold and Rouge to fall in love, preventing the upcoming war and surpassing the 5-year limit of her 7th lifetime. While I don't want to criticize the plot holes since it's a fantasy romance anime with its interesting elements, I do find Rouge's personality a bit contradictory. She claims to want a lazy life in the palace, but is immediately industrious upon arrival. She's overly kind and skilled from the beginning, possessing a unique element of an overpowered main character, not typical due to her diverse skills in swordsmanship, business, and herbalism, and the advantage of knowing the future, albeit limited to 5 years. What would you do if given multiple chances in life? In any war or battle you might encounter, if you possess an insta-kill ability without restrictions or limits on its use, would it even make sense to strive for greater strength, to train, or to practice? Why would you even bother caring about fighting at all? It seems likely that anyone endowed with such an overpowered, OP, ability is bound to become stoic, increasingly disinterested and bored with everything. This is reminiscent of Yogairai from the new anime titled. My instant death ability is so overpowered. No one in this other world stands a chance against me. In a securely guarded secret laboratory, chaos reigns. and we meet a child named Yogai Takatu, who appears to be developing a terrifying power. Much remains unknown about it, but it possesses the capacity to kill instantly with ease. Amid the turmoil, he searches for his surrogate mother, Asaka Takatu, hoping they can escape together. Despite finding his mother held captive, his demeanor remains calm and relaxed, possibly because he can always resort to his insta-kill ability. Years later, he becomes a high school teenager. He and his classmates, returning from a field trip and passing through a tunnel at night, find themselves transported to a sunny meadow in another world, while Yogai continues to sleep in the back of the bus. Suddenly, a sage named Cheyenne enters the bus, killing their teacher and bus driver. The students are taken hostage by a sadistic sage who casts a spell granting blessings to some students, introducing them to the battle song system. This system, designed to train potential sages, excludes some students like Tamachika Denura, marking them for death due to incompatibility. Left to fend for themselves, the students are assigned a seemingly impossible mission to kill a level 1000 dragon. With no hope of success at their current level, they plan to use the incompatible ones as decoys. However, while under attack by the dragon, Yogai, still asleep, eventually wakes and instantly kills the dragon, showcasing his extraordinary ability. Surviving the ordeal, Yogai are confronted by classmates who have gained the ability to fly. After Yogai effortlessly defeats two of them, the third, a healer, surrenders and becomes their slave, revealing that they have traveled back in time. Yogai skill proves to be even more formidable as he can sense any intent to kill, making any attempt on his life a death sentence for the assailant. Choosing Tamachika as a companion for protection, Yogai adventures reveal his ability to target multiple enemies, perform half-deaths, and even delay the instant death effect. Meanwhile, Tamachika proves useful with a guardian spirit named Mokomoko, who offers spiritual protection and martial arts skills. The story unfolds in a world filled with robots, vampires, and zombies, indicating a complex and intriguing narrative. The trend of Yogai ever-increasingly OP powers suggests a unique take on the anime genre, likened to the likes of Saitama for reaching max-level OP status. Although the animation quality is decent, the show captivates anime fans with its unconventional approach to combat and disinterest in conventional fighting, making it a subject of fascination. This anime is so fluffy I'm gonna die. And that's all there is to say about this new cute isekai anime called Fluffy Paradise. In Japan, there was a 27-year-old girl working as a sailorwoman. One night, she returned home extremely stressed and suddenly collapsed, resulting in her death due to overwork. She died much too early, filled with regrets. However, before she could enter the afterlife, God visited her spirit and offered her the chance to be reincarnated in a different world, a fantasy world named Astillan. In this world, he faced an issue with the humans who persecuted those not of their kind. God wanted her help in deciding whether to exterminate the entire human race in Astillan. The woman was astonished by God's request but was offered a special power in return. Surprisingly, she requested not actual powers but the ability to cuddle and pet fluffy animals to her heart's content. Unsure of exactly what power she desired, God granted her a passive trait that would make all animals in the world fond of her, except humans. She was reborn as a baby in the royal ducal family of Osfi and named Nefertima by her mother with the nickname Nima. Importantly, all her memories remained intact. She had a smart and kind older brother named Ralph and an energetic older sister named Canadia, who possessed fire magic inherited from their father. Dee, a dog, became her first pet, always there to protect her. Taking her past life into account, the first 3 years of her new life in this new world were the best 3 years of her entire existence. She never went hungry, always had enough sleep, was constantly pampered by her family, and most importantly, was able to pet fluffy animals regularly. For the first time, her mother, Cerulia, took her to her workplace in the palace. On the way, Nima observed how joyful and lively the townsfolk in their kingdom were. Everything seemed perfect and peaceful, making it hard for her to imagine if these people are really persecuting other races. They didn't bring a nanny, so Nima's mother left her in the waiting room with a protective spell. Nima behaved well, until she got bored. Soon she climbed out the window to chase a fluffy bird she saw flying by. This led to her first encounter with a rare mythological creature, a sky tiger named Lars, a holy beast with their element powers, and the royal pet of Prince Wilherd of the Kingdom of Gash. Lars was unexpectedly friendly towards Nima, usually showing concern only for the prince. Prince Wilherd took Nima to where his father, King Galdi, and Nima's father, Daland, the prime minister, were meeting. The king was impressed by Nima's cuteness and politeness. Nima pleaded with her mother to bring her again because she wanted to return to play with Lars and the other animals. Her kind mother agreed, but the couple couldn't help but worry about the strange powers she is manifesting, especially because it might put her in danger. They attended the academy's inter-school competition to watch Nima's brother and sister. It was Nima's first time witnessing her brother's talent for military tactics. When Nima went to the bathroom, she ran into the prince. Since he was charmed by her cuteness, he offered to make her his playmate in the palace. As a reward, they would allow Nima to roam freely in and out of the palace whenever she wished. Of course, this is a no-brainer deal for Nima to accept. It was time for Canadia's presentation, where she was to demonstrate summoning magic. Unexpectedly, she summoned a red fire dragon, shocking everyone. It was impossible for her sister to fight such a powerful holy beast. Nima sprinted towards the dragon to save her sister from danger, stopping the guards from attacking the dragon and managing to communicate and pet the giant beast. This astonished everyone even more, revealing Nima's unique special power to all the kingdom. The important thing was that her family and the prince were just happy she was safe. This marked the beginning of the complex story of the anime Fluffy Paradise. The reason? Nima's involvement with religious leaders, major politicians, and other royals interested in her abilities and the potential to strengthen the kingdom's military forces now became central to the narrative. Fluffy Paradise is a very unique anime in many different regards. It is really cute, but for me, it's a little too cute. Anya from Spy X Family is the kind of cuteness that's perfect, just the right amount. Nima takes it up a notch a little too further. I literally had to rest for a while before watching the next episodes after watching the first two, due to cuteness overload. Now I know that there really is such a thing called cuteness overload. Okay. When you see a ring on someone's ring finger, it means they're taken, right? But what if they have a ring on every finger of one hand? We have a new isekai harem anime on our hands. This one goes all out on fan service, yet it's surprisingly underrated in ratings. This is Tales of Wedding Rings. 10 years ago, a young boy was playing in the forest at night. He was surprised when he suddenly saw a bright light in the middle of the woods. It turned out to be a gateway from another world, and a beautiful blonde girl his age came out of it. Sato and Hime no Kana exchanged names, and in exchange for Sato keeping their secret, they became close friends. Sato was overjoyed. From then on, their hearts grew close. And not just their hearts, but their homes too. They lived next door to each other, and Hime often cooked breakfast for Sato. They're in high school now, and have been going to class together for 10 years. And now, I'm asking myself why I'm still watching this harem when it always leaves me green with envy. Naturally, his male classmates are irritated, wondering why they're not officially boyfriend and girlfriend yet. They've been going on dates every autumn festival for 10 years. So now, the moment Sato has been waiting for has arrived to gather the courage to confess his love to Hime. But his perfect moment was ruined when Hime confessed first. She confessed that she and her grandfather would be moving far away starting tomorrow. Man, it really hurts. That night, Sato saw the bright gateway open again in the middle of the forest, just like 10 years ago. He chased after Hime because he realized she planned to return to her home world to be married off to another man. It wasn't a joke when she said she was a princess. She said her farewells and entered the gate. But driven by the power of love, Sato followed her. He arrived at a church in a fantasy world and saw Hime about to marry a prince. Suddenly, a demon entered with evil intentions towards the princess. The guards, along with Hime's grandfather, whose true identity is Sage Alabaster, sprung into action. But their enemy was too strong, so the grandfather hurried Hime to put the ring of light on the prince. Instead of obeying, Hime ran to Sato, put the ring on him, and kissed him for the first time. The entire church recognized this as a legitimate marriage. This activated the power of the Ring of Light. The prince was kind and didn't get mad at Hime's actions. He even gave his sword to Sada for use. Sada unleashed a powerful holy slash that obliterated the demon. He fainted after using the power of the light and woke up next to Hime in the royal couple's bedroom. They're now married, and besides that, Hime herself was responsible for choosing Sada to be the Ring King, the true hero destined to save their world. Mixed reviews on Rotten Tomatoes were the result of his selection and his defeat of the invading demon. But because the people loved him and were happy to have their Ring King back, he embraced his new role. The two were shy during their first time bathing together in the royal bathhouse. Hime was also shy about involving Sadu in such a heavy responsibility. But Sadu assured Hime that he was happy to accept his new duty as Ring King if it meant using the power of light to protect Hime from demons targeting her life. So, he promised to stay by her side forever. Their moment was quickly interrupted when the entire castle was alarmed by the arrival of new enemies targeting the Ring King himself. The new enemies were too strong for them, so Sage explained to Sada that to unleash his full power, he needed to complete the 5 rings of power. And that meant he also had to marry the other 4 princesses besides Hime. This is just the beginning, and there are more interesting stories to come about the other waifus he will marry. I'm telling you, this is a truly underrated isekai anime, even if it has some generic details at some points. But it's impactful from episode 1 alone, and has decent action scenes compared to other harem anime. I say this is worth a good watch. In any sport, profession, or story, people are always interested in the best performers. What we often take for granted is that even the least and the weakest of participants are human too and have their own stories. Just like Ivy from the new anime, the weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash. In the world of Ortegas, each person is born with various innate skills at different levels. These are bestowed by a god on their 5th birthday. In Labyrinth Village, there's a young girl named Famisha who is blessed with the Tamer skill. However, the problem is that she is a starless ranked Tamer. Starless individuals are considered ominous beings in their community, leading her own family to disown her. To make matters worse, the entire Labyrinth Village is hunting her. Poor, disheveled, and with no choice but to hide and live in the forest just outside the village, Famisha remains cheerful. That's her life. But after 3 years, someone discovers one of her hideouts, prompting her to decide to travel even farther away, carrying her magic bags with infinite storage. She is aware of her past life, even though her memories of the other world she came from are vague. She also frequently converses with what seems like an inner voice, which somewhat helps suppress her loneliness. This inner voice also convinces her that since her village has disowned her, she should disown them in return. Life without useful skills is hard, but she has survived for a long time by scavenging. While traveling, she finds a haven filled with piles of trash. From this, she acquires potions, new old clothes, and a map. It's a good day for a scavenger like her. However, her good day quickly turns bad when someone from her village finds her tracks. This individual is also a tamer and feeds all the trash there to their pet slimes. At this moment, Famisha hears that the head of Labyrinth Village doesn't just want to capture her, but actually wants her dead. Because of this, she hastens her journey away, even though she frequently encounters accidents. To make it harder for her to be found, she cuts her hair short to look like a young boy. And she adopts a new name. She is now Ivy. Along the way, she encounters a rare type of slime that is super cute and small. According to her bestiary, it's called the weakest slime, or the disintegrating slime, because it's utterly useless. Its HP and all other stats are extremely low, giving it a life expectancy of just 1 day. Because of this, there isn't much information available about it since they are hard to observe and research. Even a slight breeze nearly kills it. Ivy relates to the slime because they are both the weakest and most fragile of their kinds. To protect the slime, Ivy spends the entire afternoon and night with it, staying by its side until morning. Assuming it had died after 1 day because it wasn't beside her, Ivy was saddened. But it turns out the slime had just gotten stuck among her belongings. She was overjoyed to learn that the information about their 1-day life expectancy was incorrect. Wanting them to always be together, she attempts to use her starless taming skill on the slime. Given the slime's weak status, Ivy successfully activates her taming skill and names it Sora. This marks the beginning of the journey of the two underdogs against all odds in the world. As expected, they rely more on evasive maneuvers than combat during their random encounters. One of her first ventures is hunting and butchering rats to buy and sell in other villages. But this doesn't last long because her wanted posters eventually reach the area. Thus, Ivy and Sora continue their journey, side by side, helping each other. Most anime with a weak character end up having them become overpowered eventually, but not in this case. It's a breath of fresh air, right? The duo of Ivy and Sora is really cute. It's pitiful to see the hardships they go through, but if you're familiar with the term cute aggression, that adds another layer of appeal. However, I do not support that kind of behavior. Okay, but the more exciting aspect is following their journey, which starts with survival and later becomes something much more interesting. We've got another exciting action anime experience delivered to us by Mappa Studios, known for their exceptional animations like Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan. This anime gives me modern Ranma half vibes, which is a huge plus for me. If you're thirsty for action anime and in search of comedy, then feast your eyes on the new anime. Bucchigri. The Honki people are the center of attraction in the anime's overall story. They are mentioned in every chapter. Bucchigri defines a Honki person as someone who harbors a heart that does not flee. And the two individuals who embody this are mentioned next. They lived during the samurai era. In one battle, they discarded their katana, armor, and helmet, wrapping themselves only in their pure Honki essence. They fought barehanded nonstop until one of them would become the strongest of all. The concept of Honki revolves around the art of war and a love for pure fist fighting. For Honki people, battling strong fighters is both honorable and exciting. Talk about full-on testosterone masculinity. Honki is spelled the same as Meijin, which means genie. For a very long time, one of the former Honki people has been sealed in this shrine. Erigine and Matakara are childhood best friends in this story. They used to train vigorously every day to become like the Honki people. Like them, there are still people who believe in the truth of Honki, although most think it's just a fairy tale. They hadn't seen each other since Erigine and his mother moved away, so much had changed upon their return. First of all, Matakara had grown into a big and strong man. Secondly, there were two delinquent gangs fighting for their territory, Siguma, led by Marito, and Minato Kai, led by Kin-san. And there's a third gang just around the corner. As much as Matakara had grown strong and large, Erigine had become weaker and thinner. Yep, he's really that lame. And you know what's even lamer? His desperation in love. But everything changed for him after awakening a Meijin who was a true Honki person. He constantly accompanied him because a piece of metal from a bullet that housed the Meijin got stuck in his head. The Meijin asked Erigine what his one true wish was, but at first, he couldn't give his wish because he wasn't even sure himself. Erigine's first real fight occurred after he was baited by his crush, who only wanted to see her brother Marito beat someone up for her. Of course, he got severely beaten up because he couldn't fight back, but in the end, Erigine showed courage to the Meijin. Like a true Honki person, he found a heart that doesn't give up in a fight. The Meijin asked again what his true wish was, and he said it was to lose his virginity. Because of this, they were able to merge and deliver a strong gut punch to Marito. Matakara witnessed this and admired his hero even more for displaying true Honki. The Meijin found Erigine's wish weird, but at least it still worked. They lost in the end, but Marito fell in love with Erigine's punch and decided to recruit him into Siguma. Since Matakara also wanted to recruit Erigine into Minato Kai, he took him to their dojo. There, Erigine also fought their leader, Kin-san. Like Marito, he fell in love with the punch that came from a true Honki person. So in the upcoming episodes, we'll see how he is courted by the two rival sides, and whether he will ultimately achieve his true wish of losing his virginity. The true purpose and strength of the Honki are still unknown. So I will continue to follow this anime. By the way, Bucchigri is a Mappa original anime, with no light novel or manga source, so it's simply a relaxed, enjoyable watch for anime fans. Full of color, full of laughs, and full of action. The story doesn't seem too complicated, but I'm sure it won't be boring as well. This new anime is the epitome of all love-hate relationships. What if a powerful being became a supervillain not because they are pure evil, but simply as a matter of, it's just their job? He finds many enjoyable things in our world, yet his job is to take over the world and annihilate all of humanity. This is the life of Waramono-san in the new anime, Mr. Villain's Day Off. Waramono-san is a high-ranking general from an evil organization of another planet who enjoys dressing in stylish Oppa fashion. His mission is to invade Earth and wipe out all humans. However, there is a group of heroes continually fighting against them, posing a significant threat to their evil plans, the Rangers. If you're wondering why they look like the Power Rangers, it's because they really do resemble them. But here's the intriguing twist. Waramono-san harbors no real organic hatred for the world or its people. In fact, he finds many things on Earth delightful, especially cute pandas. He enjoys grocery and convenience stores, particularly for the array of interesting items they offer, like manga, coffee, bread, noodles, chips, bento boxes, and even toiletries. When it comes to his duties as a supervillain and general of an evil organization, it's all just part of the job, and his feelings about his superiors or co-workers don't really matter to him. What matters is his own happiness, which he now finds in earthly things like his favorite ice cream, convenience stores, and panda zoos. So on his days off, he fully indulges in these moments to escape from his job. He even follows days off life mottos. Start the day with good quality sleep, so a comfortable bed is a must. Ensure that his meals are fresh and tasty. Most importantly, stay as far away from anything work-related as possible. He takes pride in eluding his co-workers and the Rangers, his adversaries, on his days off. Honestly, he admits there's nothing more important to him during his time off, and he detests anything that ruins it. He gets exceedingly angry over things that don't go his way, like buying extra spicy curry when he prefers mild, or when his favorite ice cream flavor is swapped for another. Quick to irritation, any inconvenience makes him swear to annihilate all humans. Despite his kindness, by the end of the day, he's still fundamentally a supervillain. But just a mention of pandas instantly calms him down and brightens his mood about his day off. One day, on his day off at his favorite zoo, he meets Akatsuki Red, the Red Ranger. Even in his Oppa trench coat, he couldn't hide his powerful dark energy aura from a ranger. The Red Ranger knew he was an enemy but didn't know his exact identity. However, our Oppa villain pleaded for a truce that day, not wanting the cute pandas at the zoo to get caught up if they fought. The Red Ranger agreed, and to make matters even weirder, he confessed to Waramono-san about his poor sense of direction. He asked for help getting home, and not only did he receive directions, but Waramono-san also personally guided him to the correct train station. Imagine that Mr. Villain gave the Red Ranger some of his precious off-day time. On the next day off, the Red Ranger, also off-duty, visited him again to thank him for the last time. Seriously? Enemies become buddies on their day off? Lamau. On this day off, he visited a shopping mall. There, two lost children mistook him for their father. He didn't know how to feel about the children's nagging, but felt a sense of duty to take them to the lost kids section, as it wouldn't be right to just leave them. But when they passed an ice cream parlor, he couldn't resist their pleas for dessert. He warned them that since he was treating them, they should make sure not to drop it. Of course, one of them still dropped their ice cream, but instead of getting angry, the Oppa Goblin villain just bought the girl a different crepe dessert to stop her tears. After taking the twins to the Lost Kids section, he was kind to the children and calmly advised them never to stray from their parents again. And it turns out, the twins are Muji and Sora, the Green Ranger. They were actually investigating Waramono-san and didn't expect their enemy could show genuine kindness. So, in the next episodes of this anime, we'll meet the Blue, Pink, and Black Rangers. And we'll see what kind of relationships can develop among rivals and enemies, especially as they start becoming conflicted about fighting each other the more they get to know one another during their days off. And besides this, it seems his appreciation for humanity itself is also growing, although it's really hard to tell. From the opening of each episode, you're treated to smooth lo-fi blues that will surely make you lay back and chill. This anime is not serious. It's all about the funny, ironic situations and cute jokes that form a great and chill comedy show. Perfect for relaxing on a balcony or at your favorite cafe. Like and subscribe for more.